This is a little hard, because I like the quicker.
Captain, how's it going? Did you guys set a date
Yeah.
for fishing with a cop yet?
No, we have not.
Okay, it's just like, gonna be back into work someday, right?
Yes, we're planning it, we just haven't come up with the.
How's it going? Did you guys set a date for? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It looks like we are live.
Where's that? Oh, there we go.
Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for your attendance this evening. Appreciate you all for your time. And we'll jump right in with the roll call, if we may.
Okay. Chair Dorsey,
Present.
Vice Chair Zwingli. Here. Richard Amici.
Here.
Diane Foster is absent tonight. Brandy Morton. Here. Lawrence O'Keefe.
Here.
Mike Schultz is absent this evening. Amanda Van Arken. Here. And Chris West.
Here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes from last session? Are there any additions?
Motion to accept the meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to accept is written and it has been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion will pass. And I'll go ahead and get these signed. All right. Any citizen comments this evening?
No, we do not have anything, right?
Right, none online. Great. All right, board member announcements. Let us see, let's start.
I don't really have any announcements, but I did have a question. There's been some talk on the neighborhood Facebook group about that there's a bear that's moved into the neighborhood. Not on the department's radar. Is there any updates, anything going on there?
We heard about it when it first came out, but nothing since. I don't know if it was just passing through or.
What's going on?
It's just like a cup.
There's been one up on the mountain behind us here for quite a while. I know that Jen Hamanchik, she talks about, there's been one up there since she was a kid. I'm sure they're here. They just generally do a better job of not being spotted.
Well, I like to do evening walks during summertime, so I'll keep my eyes open.
Yes.
That's all I have.
All right, Larry, what have you? Let's
Nothing for
see.
me. It was a pleasure to attend the volunteer banquet. That was really fun. I cut out for the line dancing, but hopefully you guys got it.
Me too.
Oh, you missed it. I got out there and it was on video. Chief Hamlin had way more fun sitting watching than I had up there trying to figure it out. It was a workout to say the least. Yeah.
I just want to let everyone know that Middleton Pioneer Cemetery is having its annual cleanup day this Saturday morning from 10 to 12 in honor of Isaac Schweitzer, who passed away 4 years ago. So I know that, I think it's prom night,
Yeah.
maybe that day. But, hopefully people can find time to get out in the morning and help out for a little bit before they go off for their festivities.
So this coming Friday,
This Saturday,
Saturday, yeah, that's.
from 10 to 12.
So it's early. Okay. Thank you for mentioning that.
And that's all. I don't have anything. I'll make up for these people.
So the Police Foundation Gala took place last month and it was a roaring success. Thank you for everyone who was there. I know Mr. West was there. I know Grant was there. We just had a meeting just earlier this last hour and we netted $88,000.
Wow.
$21,000 increase over the year before. So thank you so much, Sherwood community.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Also, the next event coming up is the Bowl with a Cop. That is this Monday, May 20th. Profits from renting the bowling lanes and the shoe rentals will go to the Sherwood Police Foundation from 8 o'clock. From 11 o'clock to I think 8 o'clock. Officers will be there to bowl with people from 4 to 8 p.m. So if you don't have anything else happening, please come on out to Langers and enjoy the bowl with the cop. And then the last thing was the high school had their public FFA plant sale. And they still had a lot of plants left over. You can reach out to, I think his name is Andrew Dunn at the high school, and he will schedule a time for you to go into the greenhouse and do some more shopping if you're at all interested. I don't know what they have left because I kind of put that out there in my plant group. I went in this week and I came out with quite a little bundle. When I was in there, one of the kids who was responsible for planting the baskets was in there too. And he was so proud of those baskets. He was comparing them to Safeway's baskets and said, ours are better than theirs are. And it was just fun to listen to him. So I got to see one of the kids who was responsible for it. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna add a little more to my little basket here. Right. Yeah. So, if you need more plants, go check them out. Their prices are comparable. They're fair. They have some nice looking plants in there. And boy, what a great way to support the kids.
All right, well, I just want to second the gala was a great time. And the food was great, and having the food from the volunteer to the next night, it was different enough that it was great. And for those poor people that did the next night too with the Robin Hood Festival thing. That was pretty amazing that those three things were pulled off night after night after night in that art center. So
They used a different caterer, didn't they?
I don't know.
Probably. That would be.
I think they did.
Different type of.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a roasted pig carried in some of the pictures. So.
Giant turkey legs.
Yeah. I am gonna report on the Charter Review Committee. I missed 2 months ago. It's police advisory because we had our first Charter Review committee meeting that night. Last night we had our third and possibly final meeting for maybe 6 months. We had representation from one person from all the boards and commissions, plus 2 or 3 at large, plus Keith Mays was the council liaison. And we had the assistant city manager and the city council and the clerk in attendance. The city council, when asked, every 6 years, the charter has to be reviewed by charter. And so it was that's what triggered this. There were a couple things raised. One had to do with right now, our city council is not compensated. Other cities have started compensating. So we had staff do a review. But more importantly, in the charter, charter category or charter element, it also dealt with no compensation, but it also deals with reimbursement for when somebody goes traveling. But there's been some determinations at the state level that if a council member uses a rewards credit card like Miles and they get reimbursed, then there's an issue. So through the discussions of the committee, we, even after reviewing what other cities were stipends they were giving to members. Not all of them were, but some were. We chose not to go down that path, but we did last night passed a motion to recommend some language change to provision 37, which has to do with compensation to deal with the reimbursement issue.
Chris, can you clarify, do you mean if someone redeems their rewards for travel and then wants cash value reimbursement, or they get reimbursed
just-
and they earn rewards?
There's a benefit which been determined that if I was a council member and I went to a meeting on behalf of the city and I used my Alaska card for the $1,000 worth of expenses and I was reimbursed $1,000 for that, I still get the miles.
You accrue new miles.
Right.
Got it, yeah.
And so that's the nuance that they're addressing. So, and basically what we recommended to council is to follow the city employee handbook with regards to that. I don't know what that is, but
Did you tighten up anything about the Royal Rosarian Customs?
no, that wasn't raised to us. But I do remember that. Most definitely, I do remember that.
An uproar.
Yes, and let me back up. This charter review committee makes recommendations to the council, and the council can choose whether to move forward the recommendations or modify them and put them before the citizens for a vote. That's the process. So it's a citizens committee that reviews and makes recommendations, but the council, through the power that they have in the charter, can put something on the ballot for citizens to vote on. The big issue that we wrestled with had to do with a citizen initiative that passed, I want to say in 15 or 16, that limited fee increases focused mostly on water and some other things to 2% annually, and had some pretty rigorous requirements with regards to 50% of the people who are registered to vote, not who voted, to pass a change in that percentage. There's an issue right now that they're dealing with tonight at the budget committee meeting where we have some sewer investments that need to be made to the tune of $600,000. That this 2% cap hasn't allowed for them to be able to bank enough to cover that. So the city budget is loaning to whatever budget item to get those repairs done because they have to be done. There was a lot of discussion of what was included in that 2% cap because we have clean water services that passes through and they aren't bound by 2%. That's a regional sewer. That's where Joe Gall, the former city manager, left. Last night we had public comment. And some of the individuals that brought forward and got past the citizens initiative that put this in place said that they didn't want to change. And it got a little tense with some personalities, but what came out in our discussion is that city staff needs to do some more homework and assessment, both on what the budget implications are, which they're going to address a bit tonight, but also what is covered or limited by that 2%. And what outlooking investments are we going to have to make in our stormwater and sewer, that's city responsibility, not clean water services. So Our recommendation that the city attorney is carrying forward is the city needs to do an assessment, and if the council wants us to relook at provision 47 as this particular provision, they can call us back together. So there wasn't any other things that this council didn't ask us to look at anything. But we're gonna have to see what happens. The city of Tigard right now has got on next Tuesday's ballot charter, they're increasing their city council size, they're changing some things with regards to mass transit and some other things, all in one charter amendment that's on the ballot. City of Wilsonville has 4 different amendments. That are 2 of them or 3 of them are very similar, but they're being put on the ballot individually. So we're just gonna have to see how those things go, and that will help our city council decide in the future what they want to do. So does anybody have any questions? That's all I have to report, Brian.
Yeah, so at this point, there are no changes.
But the only change that we recommended to council to consider is dealing with provision 37 and the section dealing with reimbursement and how it's to be treated.
Yeah.
But with regards to the cap on fees that citizens pay mostly for water and maybe sewer, there's too much unknowns, but they've got a budget challenge that like they're working on tonight, they're gonna have to work on in the future.
Yeah, to address it. Well, thank you for your involvement on that committee.
As long as he's done, I want to see if we can back up. I have something else to.
No.
So not this past week, but the week before, I had the opportunity to take a class through the Oregon Peace Officers Association, because I'm on their listserv. And it was specifically for police officers. It was a presentation about trauma. And how to basically reduce the trauma that a police officer's presence will inflict on people who have traumatic histories. In a nutshell. And I came out of it with a really renewed understanding of what our officers deal with on a cumulative basis. And I just wanted to read to you some of the things from the slide that this gentleman had up on the board. It was called the health impact of allostatic load. And for those of you who don't know what that means, because I sure didn't, it's basically the cumulative effects, as they call it, the allostatic load. And so we all know that when I don't know, some of you are newer to this. Those of us who've been here for a while have heard for quite a long time about how the cumulative trauma, the secondary trauma that the officers have to deal with can build up over time and how it affects them. Well, this interesting little slide was talking about cumulative physical and mental wear and tear due to chronic exposure to stressors, which our police officers would deal with every day. The physiological load includes the development of hypertension, high blood pressure, immune dysfunction. He specifically mentioned thyroid dysregulation, which I thought was interesting. Metabolic dysregulation. The psychological load includes mood disorders, cognitive decline, substance abuse, and sleep disorders. And then the emotional load includes fear, worry, anxiety, emotional reactivity, decreased resilience, and emotional dysregulation. So I just wanted to put out there for us all to keep in mind, this is our wonderful police department deals with this day in, day out, yet they are still such wonderful people. We have such a great relationship with them. They're so good with our community members. And I think that the stuff that they can develop as a result of their job gets lost in the shuffle a lot. A lot of people don't understand what it looks like. And the Police Foundation, we try to help with some of that. We help them develop their wellness program. Right now, we're trying to fund a shed, a rest area for them, because right now, for them to rest, if they pull a night shift and they have to be in court the next day, they have a rest area, but you know what? It's in that closet.
Yeah.
There's a cot in that closet. That's where they get to go rest. So we're looking at building a shed for them out back to try to help with some of this allostatic load. So just the next time you see your local finest, just keep in mind all the crap that they have to deal with and why their life expectancy is so short once they retire. We need to retire soon.
I know.
Well, I will go next unless anyone wants to add to their. Well, I first must acknowledge that this week is National Police Week. A chance for us to show our appreciation as a community to our officers, which I think we here in Sherwood do a great job of every day. And I know they get to see what's the feedback on social media from their postings, and they get a lot of love from that and see it in the communities as well, with people stopping them and kids waving and that type of stuff is invaluable because then you're seen in a positive light and people see your value. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. So thank you. Please thank your staff and our phenomenal officers and all of those who are in this building. Everyone is just spectacular and wonderful. So we appreciate you so much. I had the pleasure of going to Axon. They had a showcase here. They had all of their newest gear. So Axon, if you don't know, and he may be able to speak obviously better than I could, they're the ones that make their cameras, they make the tasers, they make what am I missing? Cameras, tasers, mainly. In the vehicles, do we have any of their equipment in the vehicles? No, because they were showcasing some of the new cameras they've got equipment now that can read driver's license plates in mass. So as the car is driving down the street, the cruiser, they're seeing all of the license plates and they can kick them back and they can get alerts live real time if there's a stolen vehicle anywhere in front of them. I mean, and I don't know how far, I want to say it goes out like 500 feet. It's crazy. I don't know if you got a chance to hear about that technology, but it is phenomenal. And they've got the new taser that is one of those where some of us got to shoot the taser years ago, the number 7, and they have a 10 now.
Mhm.
And the 10 is great. I got to shoot it, and that one you can shoot from a further distance. I'm gonna say it's up to 40 feet. It's ridiculous. And if you have to pull back, you can pull back and still reactivate the trigger. It has it has a warning, it has lights, it has a bunch of cool new features that keep it safer for the officer, which is what's the most important thing. But that was great. Had some wonderful donuts that I indulged in.
Is there a bad donut? All right.
There is, they have this new, they used hot sauce in the.
Oh, I don't like the weird things.
I didn't know it was pink. I thought it was strawberry. Yes, Frozen Sherwood is coming up, and of course, we'll have our police presence there, but we'll also have some of our reserves there. Sometimes we pull them over from Tigard, if I'm not mistaken. I've met some from Tigard there. But they always do a great job of crowd control with that. But it's going to be popular. People are looking to get out now after being, stuck at home. We provide some phenomenal events for folks in our community and outside our community to come and to see the wonderful city. So be sure we're there at that and high five our officers as we see them. What else did I have? Let's see. That was it. Actually, is there anything that the public should know, Captain, with regards to cruising Sherwood, that would make it easier on you guys as far as where to park or anything along those lines that would make your job easier?
We're still in the planning phase.
Okay. All right.
Brian, I just realized that there's something else I should mention.
Yeah.
Tigard and Gresham both have police and safety levies on the ballot Tuesday. Tigard's is a renewal and it relates to 8 officers and SROs and some others. Gresham they have a fire department and police. And they're trying to pass their first levy. And it's failed in the past, so, and they're just like everybody in a world of hurt, and so I think this is important for us to see what happens in those, because we've talked about a need potentially here, with staffing and stuff, not that it's something that needs to be taken up yet, but as we have continued demands and budget challenges at the city, those are things that we've talked about in the past as maybe looking at a levy. And to have Tigard and Gresham on the ballot right now, it'd be interesting to see what happens.
For sure. Yeah, we're all such different cities. It's night and day as I talk to different ones over in leadership in Tigard and what they're dealing with and what we're dealing with here in Sherwood. It's apples and oranges in some respects, and so we're very fortunate in that regard. Oh, thank you. Let me see. So we're going to jump into some business here. Term expirations as of July 1st. And you guys have probably discussed this with the chief, but we have Diane Foster, Mike Schultz, and Richard Amici have term expirations as of July 1st. So keep in mind that, and we just need to know whether or not you
I got an
want to.
update.
Oh, yes.
When we go,
Well, let me, we'll
I got an update on that, so.
on the term expirations.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it was on term expirations.
So Diane, Mike, and Richard would like to remain on the board for another term. Their reappointments have been approved by the mayor.
Okay.
And will soon be presented to city council for final approval.
Wonderful, great, wonderful. All right, the chair and vice chair position terms also expire on July 1st. So if you're interested in being, submitted and being considered for that, please let us know. We are not selfish here. We enjoy our time in leadership as chair, and I'm sure Lori could say as vice chair. And we're always happy to hand over the reins. We bring competent people onto the board just for that reason. We want to have people that can feed up into different roles as they arise. So if you're interested, feel free.
And we'll deal with those elections
Next month, because July 1st would be the first time they'd be taking the reins. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, let's see, who's been either vice chair or chair before? And we don't mind.
Hopefully it's not open. You're still here.
No, but it's a wonderful opportunity, and yeah, if you're interested, I definitely want to encourage everybody to put their name in the hat. All right, and the TSC liaisons, which right now, it's just you. Yeah. And so you've done a wonderful job. Thank you for filling in, stepping into that. And for all of you that have played, have been in that role before, it's not easy adding that to your plate during the month. So I appreciate that so much. So if that's something of interest, let us know. I know for myself, if I wasn't in the chair position, that's something I'd be interested in as well. So
It's an action committee.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of action.
Yeah, and I brought that up a couple meetings ago that I really enjoyed my time so far with this committee, just because you really get to learn about the city at a much closer micro level, where you drill down to specific streets and walkways and bike paths and so on. And I mean, it's just a very interesting perspective to take. And when we get our agenda, I usually go out and drive that's been discussed a day or two in advance, just so I can be more familiar with it. And so it really makes you feel connected to what the city is. And I know historically there's been 2 liaisons. Right now I'm the only one. It would be nice if someone else joined in, just so all the pressure's not there. If I was out on vacation, I know that I can feel fine declining a meeting. But I did say that I would like to continue on just because I've been in that role for less than a year and it's just now starting to get really exciting. So I don't want to be waiting for that.
How often are the meetings?
It's the same as this. It's every Thursday. So it's next Thursday. They start a little earlier. The meetings are at 6 and they do run a little longer. It's about 6 to 8, depending on how full the agenda is. I know our last meeting was a little shorter one, but it's the city engineer is there and does most of the talking. We have a patrol officer who shows up and we can ask questions about, if we're talking about bike paths, we could say, can e-bikes ride on it? And he'll give us specific ordinances of what's legal and not and so on. So, and one of the other captains is there too. So it's a very cool approach to how they kind of present it. And then we vote on, we should add a stop sign here. We need a push button flashing crosswalk because this study just determined this and we need a study before we actually act on this. So can we commission a study? That sort of thing. So. Very fun.
Thank you, Brandy, for.
I didn't know you needed 2 people. I would volunteer for that
Oh, great.
if nobody else is interested.
Oh,
I think she's interested. Are you interested? Oh, I might want to attend. Can I attend a meeting just to see how?
You've done what
You go right ahead. If you
Yeah.
don't like it, I'll step in.
Okay.
this is wonderful. Thank
You got
you.
more than enough right
You
here.
guys just pushed me back in my place.
Oh, the meetings are here now?
Yes, in this room.
Oh,
Right here. Yep, next
I'll have to
Thursday.
find it.
So the police meeting is the 3rd Thursday and traffic is the 4th Thursday.
Okay.
It starts at 6.
And it wouldn't hurt, I guess, even if you had 2 people to have someone as an alternate in case
Yeah.
both are on vacation. Again, you just don't want to have
Mhm.
all the pressure on 1 or 2 folks if you don't have to.
Yeah.
But
In my first meeting, I was the one who put us into quorum. But I showed up and there was
Oh,
like
wow.
2 people there and everyone else had called out that day and they weren't expecting. I was new, no one was expecting me and we went from 2 liaisons down to 1 and we pulled out the book and looked it up and counted and we go, well, we have 51%, let's do it. So,
And there's also only 5 members on that one, and then additional, police advisory board liaison, so it is kind of a deal if a couple people don't show up.
And I sat in for you. They didn't have enough people, so we were out of here in 5 minutes.
yeah, that was, I think, spring break.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see that a lot. This is a family town, so spring
Yeah.
break people will head out for sure. All right, well, speaking of that, that will usher us right into the traffic safety committee update if you are ready. And thank you for getting my attention on that. I was like, we're gonna talk about the new staff for the police department. Thank you. You ready?
So I don't have any updates. That the last meeting I attended, I gave the update on it. And then we had one canceled due to sickness. And then it sounds like the spring break one was canceled. And we didn't have April's.
I like
That
those
was
meetings. You don't have to go. I'm just kidding.
the volunteer appreciation night was on April, so they canceled that one. And that's it. The only thing I did want to bring up in regards to traffic is the pedestrian bridge. Everyone's seen the construction been going on.
Yes.
And I remember early in the planning discussion stage, they mentioned that once they broke ground, one of the targets was when they needed to make some closures on Elworth, that they would try and do that when summer started for the high school. And summer is right around the corner. So just kind of, I'll ask next week, but be aware that that might be the case, that we might see some closures here in June, July type timeframe for some construction.
It looked like they're almost at that point with the towers that they've got. The tower they're gonna work on next is on the high school side.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going up fast too. It's faster than I was expecting.
What was the target date for that to be completed?
It was like 18 months from when they started. It was kind of what they were looking at, I believe.
And that starts at the trail on between the condos and the YMCA.
That starts,
Are they gonna bring another bike trail extension into Cedar Creek Trail there?
yes, they were talking about building an underground pass through that would connect the Cedar Creek Trail by the apartments there, underneath and over all the way up to the refuge at one point. But they need to get a pass through some way to get across the street, there, because there's that.
Because right now the bridge is just gonna be built and it's gonna empty right where the Y is.
Right with Y is.
In between the Y and the condos.
Yes, yeah. And you'll see that walkway continue at some point, but it's just, they have to get it all budgeted in and everything.
Is it between the condos and, or is it on the front side of
I
it?
think it's on the front, front of the pool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I think for a minute.
But there is that walkway by the condos that goes over to the Woodhaven neighborhood on the backside of the Y. I know what you're talking about. My kids think that sometimes. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a zigzag on the wide side where it comes
Okay, I
down
wasn't sure in that house.
versus the high school side, it's gonna be a long gradual slope down.
Yeah, you're right. The ramp may end at that trail between the condos and the YMCA. The ramp itself, there's gonna be stairs and ramp, but you're right, that ramp, it's gotta be long. So it will probably stretch over toward that trail. Okay, not 100% sure. Right. Thank you. Counselor news, we will not be hearing from them this evening, but I'm sure they'll have a lot to discuss with us next week.
I wanted to ask about Costco. I was hoping you would be here.
I asked about Costco. I'm on a Chamber of Commerce here for Sherwood, and we had a chance to, I brought that up in our last meeting. So nothing is set in stone. They haven't even submitted the paperwork yet. They did have a neighborhood meeting on, it's Friday, so Wednesday. Yeah. And just started getting the word out because that's something that they're wanting to do, which is great to see interest from Costco. I know a lot of citizens were pushing for Costco or Trader Joe's for that location, or even for the old where Hobby Lobby went in. But nothing had gotten started except for that neighborhood meeting, which is like the first step, and because if there was a huge protest and uproar about it, then they don't want to be where they're not desired.
I think the big grumble I've heard is just traffic concerns, especially since that whole area has been under construction. They've turned off that signal to make it a right in and right out. And yeah, I think people are just concerned if it's gonna really bog that area down.
Yeah, and that's always an opportunity for any new development. And I have talked to different members, different developers about how they're communicating what they're doing, whether it's a building, to have these conceptual plans. And nowadays the technology is there where you can show on a website, how the traffic will flow and just have colors, how, where the lights are, stop signs and what have you. So people feel comfortable that, okay, this is being addressed, this is being remedied, concerns are being met. And so hopefully we'll see more of that from them. They're a big organization and they've done this so many times that it could be worse than where Tigers is located. If you've gone into that place, that's a tough, backs up 99.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
So,
Captain, the light that's not functioning now at NW Kentucky Fried, is that going back in when they finish the work?
I do not know.
Because I remember originally, because I was involved with it for the owners of that piece of real estate to fight them removing that, but for some reason I thought maybe it had changed because of the way it's looking. Could still have lights there, but I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
I feel like you'd have to if it's gonna be a shopping.
It's that only new right
I'll be sure.
hand turn off at 99 in there is not gonna be able to handle the inflow or outflow if there's a.
that's the one by Les Schwab?
No, the one on 99. Little dinky.
Okay. By,
They almost need an exit going out to.
Yeah.
But that's a problem.
yes, that would be ideal.
Yeah,
Dropping the traffic off there versus 97.
2 or 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And then is it true that on Roy Rogers, they're putting in Fred Meyer
Heard that for
by
many
the Bagenstos or where Bagenstos is?
Or by Al's across from.
Yeah,
That's what I
Yeah,
heard.
that's what I heard from actually a city person.
Maybe, and they may be in the same process. Yeah, I suppose in where they send out the neighborhood pamphlets and have
Yeah.
a neighborhood meeting where we'll have.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not many neighbors. Just the families that back and so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. But a lot of good stuff happening. I'm interested to hear from the captain how he thinks that will impact it. We know what Target has bought to the
Yeah.
as far as an increase in crime theft in some of these larger stores, but I think Costco may have a better handle on it. We don't hear too much about Costco. All right, but here we go. Show is yours, yes.
Staff report. Brian was here on this one. This Wednesday, we hired a new officer, Robert Caraway. He came here from a local agency with about 7 years of experience. So he's gonna be a great addition to our police department.
The question, I mean, they were talking about some special skill sets that he had bought with him. Are you able to go into any details to his background or?
His previous agency, he was on search and rescue, which once he gets through his field training, there's a possibility he could join that group again. We're discussing that.
When you bring new people on, do they do a specific training here besides what they've had experience with as an actual police officer?
Yeah, so the lateral, so when we bring on a lateral, it's pretty much the same as an entry level. They still have to go through the field training. It's condensed, 16 weeks as opposed to 8 to 10, depending on their experience and how they move through the process. He's also a field training officer, which will help us out immensely once he's probably off probation in a year.
Wonderful.
Yes, I'm excited about it. We also, that's the positive. The negative is, well, the sum, we're pending a officer retirement this July. So basically, Robert's supplementing this officer who's retiring in July, so.
Okay.
Back to, square one, I guess.
You gonna tell us who that is?
I don't think he wants to make it public just quite yet. So, he talked to the chief, gave his date, but I don't think he wants to make it public. We all know inside, I don't think he wants to make it, so I am. Adam Kesey, he has been promoted to patrol sergeant. He's gonna take over that position in July, the beginning of July. He just attended the Sergeant's Academy. He's just finishing up his mental health response team duties, and then he's gonna switch over to his sergeant role.
So we're gonna train up somebody to fill his mental health slot.
We are gonna open that up. It might even be open right now.
It closes on the 23rd.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll have it filled.
So with him moving to a sergeant, does he have to give up his position in the Police Officers Association? Because he's going into management, right?
Yeah, he can't be the president of the association if he's a sergeant. Okay, so there's gonna be a new president in SPOA. Lucas Spencer, a while back, we promoted Corey Gent to sergeant. At the time, he was our K-9. He continued that duty, and now we are handing the K-9 over, Miss B, to Spencer. I believe next week he's gonna take Miss B, and there's like an orientation phase where she just rides with him until he gets into his K-9 class.
Is that tough switching owners for the dog, or you guys do that very often?
No, I think the actual last time we did that is when I got promoted to sergeant, way back when. So,
Must be kind of tough to let go of your.
oh, it is,
Yeah.
it is. So, but I'm excited for Lucas. He's gonna do a great job with him, so, or with her. Chris Azar, another sergeant. he's taken on a new role. We created an admin sergeant. Awesome. So he's moving out of the patrol sergeant arena and moving over to the admin side. His new position mainly will oversee detectives, school resource officers, evidence, training. So
Do we have an admin sergeant right now?
it was a position we were funded for like 2 years ago, but because of our staffing was never filled. So we were just able to fill it this year. And I think the reserves were mentioned earlier. We are in a process of hiring a couple more reserves. So that process is going on right now. In July, we're gonna have our interviews with them. Upcoming events. I've already mentioned Sherwood proms this weekend. We're gonna have 2 officers attend that, and work that with the school. We also have the Hill Bear Show this weekend where 2 of our reserves will be working that event. And Fishing with the Cop, that's gonna be TBA, but that's planned this summer, we just haven't got a date yet for that.
But where does that normally?
Take place.
Yes, sorry, I was in everything.
When,
Where does that normally?
there's a big lot behind our parking lot in the back there, we have it back there.
Okay.
We put up a big old swimming pool for the fish. Oh, that's cool, we have it. So I'm assuming that's where we're gonna have it this year too. Shred and food event is this Saturday, May 18th, from 9 to noon. I guess we handed out a flyer, you should all have. We already talked about this, but I'll, we're involved with the cops Monday, the 20th. And we'll be there from 4 to 8. We'll go with, people that show up there at Langer's Entertainment Center. It's a pretty fun event if you haven't attended. Cruising, we will have a table set up there. That's gonna be June 15th, and also at the Robin Hood Festival on June 20th. And we are in the planning stage for National Night Out. That falls on the first Tuesday of August each year. This year it will be on August 6th. The foundation will, once again, be providing hot dogs, and the GHD band will be providing live music. That's my update.
Have there been any discussions about another Citizens Academy? We were talking about having one last year and it got put on hold.
There's been discussion every year. It's just trying to get enough staff to do it. It's a pretty big lift for us. And also, citizens that want actually to attend. And we put it out there last time, we only got very few people that wanted to attend it. So something we can put out there again. I'm not sure when though.
I didn't know if this is posted somewhere or not, but I was just always curious. How many field officers do we have in the city?
Field officer?
Yeah, like, cause you said some are their admin positions, whatever, but how many officers do we have here?
That on patrol?
Yeah,
Put me on the spot.
sorry, just curious, I've always been curious. I seem to see the same ones twice. I seem to see the same one that fills it. No, I'm not kidding, I'm kidding.
Well, we have,
Nine.
yeah, probably something like that. I'm not sure. We're not counting sergeants and captains
Okay.
and all that, so.
Well,
probably
29 sworn.
Last year it was 27.
Okay.
It's probably right around there.
Right around there.
So if you subtract the sergeants and the captains, that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Subtract 8. So 21-ish.
Okay. And you mentioned detectives, are those in that number?
We have 2 detectives, so drop 2, so 19.
Cool, I'm just always curious.
And are we getting real close to having 3 with us, with or without a sergeant on duty each shift?
No,
Not quite.
no. There's a lot of shifts where we just have two on still.
What would be our capacity number, like if we were fully?
Fully staffed?
That's hard.
According to the budget, or according to what we would like.
Okay, well, it's relative, I know, I'm getting it,
So I'm speaking, I guess, the chief might have a different opinion on
yeah.
that. But I mean, for patrol wise, ideally, we would want 3 officers plus a sergeant on each of the 3 shifts. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of times it's just an officer and a sergeant,
Got it.
which is not ideal.
The chief had talked about this at a couple of meetings before, is ideally it would be 4 on patrol, 3 guys and sergeant. But every day, there's somebody sick,
Yeah.
vacation, maternity leave, you know, it's or, military duty. And then it's always, they're trying to always keep their head above water, so it's.
Sorry, I'm asking so many questions, but it
No.
fascinates me. And then at what point does a reserve kind of like be implemented or, yeah,
So when they go through, when we hire them, they pretty much go through an academy. It's a reserve academy. It's longer than the regular academy. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 10 PM and every Sunday. That's January through May. So it's a pretty big lift for those guys. But once they finish the academy, they pretty much go through the whole curriculum a full-time officer goes through. So they don't go out on patrol by themselves, but they can ride along with a full-time officer. They're a great asset for all these special events.
yeah.
Cause they supplement full-time for parades and all that. They can help block streets and do all that. So they're just basically, there to help and supplement the full-time officers.
How many reserves do we normally have?
Right now, we have,
Normally is probably not good.
we have two, we have 2 working, we have 2 in the academy now. And we'd like to add 2 to 3. One of the reserves right now, they're in the process with a couple different agencies to get hired full-time, so we may lose that one. So we'll be back down to 1. So,
If a reserve officer gets hired full-time by not just our agency or anybody, do they, after attending that academy that you guys put, they still have to go to?
they still go to
right?
USSD for the 16 months.
16,
Yeah,
that's a big commitment for your reserve guys.
yeah, it's a lot of training.
Great stepping stone.
Yes. Yeah, and they attend all the in-service training, all the regular officers attend, when they have the opportunity to.
Are they paid during the training, the reserve?
No,
They're
it's
not.
volunteer,
Wow.
100%,
Even when they come out, they're still volunteer.
100% volunteer.
And they have to pay for their own travel to Hillsborough or to wherever the events are and, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unless they take one of our patrol cars, like at the air show, one of them's taking one of our old patrol cars up there to help block a street. But other than that, yeah, they drive themselves.
You pay for their gear, their polos.
Yes.
What have you.
We pay for all their gear.
Thank you, Captain Cross.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot.
Those are good questions. I like talking about that.
I've been curious, like, as a resident, I didn't know.
Well, we will go on now to,
I move that we adjourn.
yes. Let's just jump
Wait, I
right
have more questions, I'm just kidding.
in. Second, all right, there's a motion to adjourn. It has been seconded. Any discussion, any last comments? Okay, all right, we are hereby adjourned. Thank you all for your time this evening again. Appreciate you very much. Captain Cross, for being in. Hopefully went through last night, I think.
No.
I know you have one day, so this is just added on here. Thank you.
You know, speaking of that fishing, event, back in the day, they used to do an MBA fishing event at that big pond at a training center. For the fire department, and then someday. One day was that. And that's killed all the fish. Edited one of them, oh wow, we haven't done that thing in years out there, but whatever.